Sagittarius, this is your October 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then you might find this resonates for you for the month ahead. It's Romy. Thanks so much for joining me, taking the time to tune into my channel. We are going to open up this month with the Queen of Pentacles. Now, even though October is set to be the most intense of the year, it's also for you going to be the most insightful and in many ways the most progressive. You know, sometimes when we've learned the hard way, but we've come through, then there's a determined quality to our spirit and we just get on and do what needs to be done. And that kind of approach, that sort of tenacity and that willingness to just kind of get stuck in, if you like, is going to be the thing that's going to help you to navigate whatever comes your way. Now, of course, we're into eclipse season. We're also going to be witnessing Pluto going direct. We're also going to see Samhain and Halloween and the thinning of the veil. And so, you know, the intensity and the energy that's sort of swirling around this month also gives you the opportunity to leverage and sort of harness it in a way that can be incredibly supportive and positive for helping you to get to where you need to be. And instead of sort of sitting in that place of indecision, even when you look at something, because I have a sense there's perhaps a situation, maybe more than one, where you're like, how is this going to work? Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to figure this out? How is this going to come together? And here your Queen of Pentacles is just advocating for this. We will find a solution, but we must embark on initiating action. And through that, you know, we are aware of the resources that we have around us. We're aware of what we have to work with, if you like. And you're getting creative and incredibly inspired with that. And that's going to go an awful long way. So Mercury shifts into Libra on the 4th, and we're now clear of the shadow of retrograde of both Mercury and Venus, which means that you're also set to be in a much clearer position. There's our clarity with the Ace of Swords on what needs to be done and actually how you truly feel. So where confusion has reigned, you know, and you've had enough of that, we are now willing to be able to have those direct, very pragmatic conversations when we need to. And, you know, this also indicates that there is a fresh start that is coming for you through the month of October. Now, for some, that will mean moving on. That might even be tinged with a little sadness, but more than that, an overwhelming anticipation at what more there might be for you. For some, it's going to mean reconciliation of some sorts or returning to something, but that means rebuilding the trust, which also means that we have to underpin that with a transparency and a truth to be able to have some of those harder conversations. But where we're willing to put into practice the vibration that we truly want to emit, then I think you're going to see some incredible progress. And remember, there's a huge emphasis through the month of October around relationships as we are in that Libran energy in the first half of the month. And of course that we're working with the Libra eclipse, so that North Node in the sign. So our demands in relationships, our desires in relationships, and across the board, yeah, platonic, professional, romantic, all under review. And especially where we have continued to accept, or there are sort of situations of codependency, all of these things being illuminated, and perhaps some powerful shifts and changes coming through. You will lead the way this month. You'll also show the way forward without forcing it. And I think that's really important. What you're able to do, especially in regards to some of the most important connections in your world, is have these conversations and this level of openness in a powerful but a very fair way. So the recognition of identifying where somebody is at in relation to you, because it's more than likely, and it's, you know, often the case that we're not necessarily exactly on the same page. We do have a rather clashing conversation astrologically taking place on the 8th. So Venus moves into Virgo, which will be a welcome relief because we've had a prolonged period of Venus in Leo, and you'll have worked through all sorts of things with that retrograde as well. But now we show up through acts of service. That's our love language. But on the same day, we have Pluto and Mars in this quite hostile, aggressive sort of standoff, and the kind of feeling of a showdown or wanting to break free will be very evident. And, it's a couple of days before Pluto is stationing direct. And so there's already a disruption as he sort of awakens from his slumber and is a little bit groggy. And so that energy can sort of flow into those conversations. And with the best will in the world, things can escalate very quickly. Because of where I'm seeing you and how you appear to be approaching things through October, yes, it's intense, but at the same time, I feel like you're also finding the solution and the way through. And you're doing it in a way that just isn't condescending, it's not confrontational, but be aware that that energy is in the backdrop. So you may even feel a little bit of that being projected towards you, or even part of yourself kind of wanting to go there and getting frustrated. But if you can kind of temper and keep a lid on that a little bit, you can, again, as I said, harness and leverage the intensity and the power of this energy to make your move. And I feel that this is a month where Sagittarius, you're going to make your move. You're very aware of not wanting to have any regret for not trying or taking a risk or being bold. Now, there may be more than a few fears that are being activated as a result of the energy that's in play, and also just the contemplation from your perspective of, have I got what it takes? Am I even going to be able to pull this off? Is this going to work? And so, we can kind of render ourselves almost in a place of indecision and just get incredibly stuck when we go too far in that direction. Again, I see your Queen advocating for when it feels too much and your mind is kind of taking over. Let's just move into the doing. Yeah, because sometimes in the shadow, Libra can sort of create that sitting on the fence and we just can't make our mind up. We can't make a decision. It's not where I see you this month, far from it. But I do think you're still going to be having to face up to some of those more uncomfortable truths or some of the stress that feels like it's kind of gathering up around you. And I think there's also this feeling, especially as we see Mars moving into Scorpio on the 11th, there's like an indirect quality to people's agenda. And there's a lot that's sort of not truly fully revealed, but there's again an intensity that's coming through with that sign. I think with it, there are some unreasonable expectations being asked of you, and they need to be explained, i.e. you need to kind of come back and really articulate why this is not going to work, why this is not okay. Otherwise, it just does create more of a sense of confusion. And like I said, you have had enough of that. But that Ace of Swords says, if you're willing and brave, and I think your bravery has been hard earned, it's well deserved, and it will carry you through any problems, so that you can really seek the lesson in what's happening around you, but also the solution. Because what I don't see for you this month is any sense of self-pity whatsoever. I just really feel into strong, asserted moves where you're not afraid of getting it wrong. And I think that's really important. Like, you have to sort of be willing. You have to have the courage to fail or to falter and know that that's almost part of what destiny is asking from you. Your High Priestess tells me you're in the know. You're fully aware of what's being asked of you, what needs to be done, and when you need to make your move. But that doesn't need to say that, everything is going to conspire to this perfect moment where you think, okay, now this is going to be the easiest time to do this. I don't think October is necessarily going to give you the easiest time to do it. I think you're just going to have to do it. I think you're just going to have to make that move. And, part of that's just going to be the risk of saying, well, I will meet whatever comes as a result of the fallout of that, but I can't not try. Again, you have with the High Priestess a somewhat passive energy where you're allowing a lot of things to be brought to your attention, and they will. It's almost like people feel incredibly compelled through the course of October to just fess up to you. And that's good, because I think that, things that have been held up or held back are now finally flowing in. Now, they still, I would say, have this sort of unexpected quality to them. And as we approach the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, coming in at 21 degrees on the 14th, that beautiful ring of fire that we'll witness, the revelations are quite earth-shattering, you know, and the shifts and changes that will be taking place, you know, and I don't, at the same time as feeling a little bit surprised, I think really when you take time to process what's being said to you or communicated to you, it won't be that much of a surprise. It will be clear and evident as to how that has come to be. But that in and of itself will also make it very obvious to you where you need to be, what your position is, and, you know, just give you become more informed. And I think, you know, that knowledge and information is always going to give you a sense of power, not power over anyone else, just that sense of just being more clear-minded in your own pathway. And that's really where your high priestess is coming through, with just like this powerful advocation for you trusting in how things are sort of unfolding. Now, of course, with the veil being so thin, you know, your ability to connect with your spirit guides, with loved ones in spirit, is, you know, amplified. I have a soul journey this month that helps you explore that connection. Please do check it out. You'll find the link below. But, you know, there's an important sign that also feels like it's coming through for you. Absolutely, like, unequivocal, irrefutable. Like, when you see the sign, it's like, well, it can't be anything other than, you know, a clear message from the divine, from beyond the veil. Something that will make perfect personal sense to you. What that does is it sort of sets into motion, if you like, again, perhaps just this moment of bravery that you find, okay? And it sets into motion you being able to face something or someone with a completely different energy and a different vibration. That will perhaps even take them by surprise, because, you know, you might have been coming at something repeatedly and it's not really gotten you anywhere. But it's like a change of tactic or a change of strategy that comes through this month following that new moon. And as we move deeper into kind of Scorpio energy, Mercury moves into the sign on the 21st, the Sun comes into the sign on the 23rd. You know, you are really willing to be able to kind of push something all the way. And your King of Swords kind of tells me that decisiveness, that focus, the intelligence that you're able to bring to a situation through experience and maturity, but also because of the sign that you've been given, just kind of helps create this environment where you're like, I know this is the right thing to do. Like, I trust. There's like nothing that anybody could say or do right now that would prevent me from like believing that this is the next valuable step for me. And you'd be right in that. You would absolutely be right in that. Now, we will welcome the final chapter of the Taurus eclipse storyline on the 28th, the lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Taurus. Now, you've been engaged in this story since November 2021. So what has been playing out, especially in regards to your sense of security? Now, this particular eclipse is kind of hard aspected with Mercury and Mars and Jupiter, so there's a dramatic quality to it over and above what we would already see with eclipse. We also have this potential for exaggeration, so keep that in mind. What people are saying or what's coming at you, or what you're hearing in the news, what you're feeling for yourself will be amped up and exaggerated beyond what is necessarily true. We do have a harmonious conversation that Saturn is bringing, a little bit more level-headedness and an ability to turn things around. So if you do feel in and around that time of the month that things have just gotten out of hand, this sort of wild card kind of electric energy just seems to be running away from you, or people or circumstances are just kind of acting a little crazy, because really this is the time where we have to resolve, find closure, learn the lesson. So there's an extra intense sort of pressure, if you like, that we're feeling into, because we understand, we know at an innate kind of internal level that, you know, we've been through this cycle, it's coming to a point of closure, and we have to grow and integrate the experiences. So, you know, you have the opportunity to kind of let the dust settle and be able to sort of get something back on the right terms, back into balance. Keep that in mind. But it will be an interesting one. It's going to be a powerful one. And of course, that's right ahead of Halloween Samhain. Now, Venus is going to trine with Uranus on that day. So actually, there's some really, again, expected you know, information, news or information that comes out of the blue. So something kind of unexpected. And it might be with Venus in the mix there and it being just right on that Taurus eclipse, especially pertaining around money. Yeah, it could be really hitting in on your prosperity. What's going on in manifesting or your source of income or security. And again, it could hit quite powerfully around, you know, key relationships. Remember, we have to keep our energy really clear and pure and be extra vigilant around this time because we are incredibly open and susceptible, not just to be able to communicate with all of those loved ones and energies that are protecting and guiding us, but, you know, there's also a lot more flying around through the month of October. So we covered the last 3 cards, if you're new to the channel, in my extended reading. We talked for another 30 minutes. I'll go deeper into this reading and also look at a personal question for you as well as a relationship card. I really hope that you'll join me if this is resonating so far. You just want to hear more of what's coming through for you. I'm going to go ahead and just clarify some of these cards and see the direction that we might be taking this in for you, Sagittarius. So we come through with 2 of Wands. All the decks, as ever, are listed below. 10 of Swords and the Moon. I also have an Eclipse soul guided meditation as well to support you with this eclipse season. Ace of Swords, 3 of Swords. I mean, that is clarity beyond measure. So, you know, if you have been waiting for the answers, they are coming. In fact, this is like what I've been saying. Like, this is, you know, sometimes we have months where we're asking questions. And sometimes we have months where Destiny delivers the answer. And Destiny's delivering answers this month. And even when you have these situations that still don't make sense to you, I think there's also this invitation to find peace and to be able to let that be. And know that Destiny will decide like when and if you are meant to know or meant to receive more information in regards to that. Because if you really consider perhaps how much space that's been taking up, how much energy, you know, has been drained from you focusing upon trying to figure something out, I think there'll be a willingness on your part to draw the line because there's such a sense of readiness to, as I said, make your move this month. Okay. Remember, there's such a focus with this relationship sort of energy being highlighted through October to kind of move into more of a interdependence. Yeah, and this is where we sort of grapple with that North Node in Aries that's kind of wanting us to be self-reliant and independent and learning, you know, from Libra, knowing that we have to release the codependency, but just finding that middle ground. And, you know, a lot of what kind of comes through will be underpinned by these themes. So just keep that in mind and really what you're meant to be learning from that in your own individual journey. There's like a warp speed kind of feeling to October as well. So do expect a lot to happen in a very short space of time this month. We're going to look at some oracle cards now. This is Life Soul Vision, which is my own deck. Again, if you're new to the channel, you haven't checked this out, please do so over on my website. You've got Spirit Owl coming through and Spirit Horse, beautiful animal totems showing up for you. Solstice, Celestial Stillness. Eclipse Revelations, enjoying the fact that this is showing up across multiple readings this month, as it should. We've got Casting Out Constellations, This is the Way, This is the Work, and Soul Stories. Beautiful. Okay, so let's pull from a couple more oracle decks just to see the messages that we will weave into your extended reading. Foggy bog, patience. Okay, we've got the spirit crane coming through there. And finally, from the energy oracle. So as I said, you will find the spirit guide meditation, you will find the eclipse meditation and all my sacred soul support, along with the deck and my book, the sacred titles I've created over on the website. And remember, you know, you can check out your sun rising and your moon sign across all my soul stories. You've got door to value coming through there. I just think there's something really powerful happening on that Halloween for you around money, so keep an eye out. Okay, Sagittarius, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me. I will see you again next time. Have a beautiful, adventurous month ahead.